I am here with Madeline Hume, an analyst here at Morningstar, talking about her presentation coming up at this year's Morningstar Investment Conference. Digital assets are more than bits and bytes. So, Madeline, there is a ton going on in this space, including the administration's recent thoughts on the matter. So, what are your thoughts on how all that's playing out?
Yeah, that's right, Katie. And, our thoughts on it are it's about time. We're really excited that the federal government is stepping in and asking for a coordinated effort on cryptocurrencies. It was smart not to jump in right away and overregulate the space while the technology was still developing, but we have a pretty good idea now of what digital assets are like. And so I think smart regulation will invite investor protections, and that can only help things going forward.
Yeah, that's fabulous. Okay, so we've got the government paying attention, advisors are paying attention, but Madeline, as an analyst, where do you think advisors should actually be paying more attention when it comes to digital assets?
Yeah, a lot of the advisors that we talk to are actually doing the right thing when it comes to cryptocurrencies, which is advising their clients to keep it out of their tax-advantaged accounts. It is not a vehicle for retirement saving. It's we can argue over whether or not it's even an investment. But one area that I think would benefit from advisors shining a light on is with cryptocurrency exchanges, the transaction fees that investors are paying are egregious, especially relative to, the free transactions that we're used to with stocks and ETFs. They can run sometimes upwards of 1.5%, and it's hard for investors to really visualize that. And I think that's where the advice of a financial professional could help.
Okay, so you fit a few things in there on maybe what advisors should and shouldn't be thinking about. One of the things is, how should advisors be classifying digital assets?
Yeah, so, people like to use the expression, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, then it is a duck. People have used that to classify cryptocurrencies as everything from a digital version of gold to an early stage venture capital investment. But really, cryptocurrencies and digital assets are a platypus. They've got a lot of different things going on under the hood. So it's tough to really understand all of the stuff that's going on in the space. So, when we like to look at it, it's from a risk perspective. And cryptocurrencies and digital assets are extremely volatile. The only asset class that really compares is oil futures. So if you're an advisor and you wouldn't put oil futures in your client's portfolio, cryptocurrencies probably don't belong there either.
Okay, Madeline, I would be remiss if I didn't ask about NFTs. So in what scenarios should advisors or investors classify NFTs as an investment?
So, here at Morningstar, we're also investors ourselves. And so we're always learning and always figuring things out. But that said, at this point in time, NFTs don't typically belong in an investor's portfolio. So if you treat it as a sunk cost and a way to experiment with emerging technologies, there's a lot of potential to get some enjoyment out of that. But as far as return on investments, we're really not there yet. NFTs are very similar to a digital form of art. So the way that we like to think about it, the closest comparison is fine art. So if you're not investing in Monets or Kunzes, probably an NFT doesn't make sense for you.
Awesome. Yeah, that makes sense. That's one of those many areas that are coming out that what do these things even mean? So you actually have two presentations because there's so much to cover here at the Morningstar Investment Conference.
That's right, we do. We've got one that we're going to be discussing kind of all of the research that we've done up until this point on digital assets, and another where we go through the different roles that people play in the cryptocurrency space. So, we've got our research team that we're going to be talking with, but also our policy team and an investor here at Morningstar who's participated in cryptocurrencies and has a lot of experience with the space. So stay tuned for our findings on that.
Yeah, and two sessions definitely not to miss at this year's Morningstar Investment Conference. Okay, so what are investors and maybe even advisors missing when it comes to cryptocurrencies?
Absolutely. So when we like to think about cryptocurrencies, we don't think of them as an investment. We think of them as a bet. And so what we notice with a lot of investors who have already gotten into cryptocurrencies, they tend to be pretty tribalistic about it. Yeah. They find a particular token, they see it as a winner in the winner-take-all scenario of cryptocurrencies. And that's just not a super productive way to think about it because it exposes investors to a lot of risk. And so when that happens, think about it compared to a venture capital firm. Venture capital firm has a bunch of different bets spread across any number of different sectors in the hopes that just one of those is going to pay off. So even at a casino, you can improve your odds. A diversified strategy and highly concentrated investments can work together in the same portfolio. So for investors, always hedge your bets.
Madeline, I will be there at your session on digital assets are more than bits and bytes, because this is such an important topic, whether advisors are having the conversation or not, just being aware of this. So that's one of the many things about the conference I'm looking forward to. What are some of your favorite parts of the Morningstar Investment Conference?
You know, what I really like about the Morningstar Investment Conference is it's a chance for my colleagues to show all of the work that I know is happening behind the scenes, all of the days in the trenches, researching all of these awesome areas that we're looking at day in and day out, and being able to finally present that and being able to celebrate, you know, the really cool things that are happening in finance and for investors and for advisors. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so just the fact that you even focus on all of the digital assets and this super fast moving environment is a superpower enough, but do you have another superpower by chance?
I do. It happens to be a very mediocre one, but whenever I'm reading a book, I tend to be able to find my spot even without a bookmark. It's a skill I've developed over many years. You work on the spine a little bit, so that's my superpower.
Okay, so if anyone wants to get Madeline a gift, it should not be a bookmark. Awesome. Thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Katie. Thank you so much.
Digital assets are more than bits and bytes. Ooh. I mean, seriously, that's your title.
Yeah, I love that.
You're never bored, are you?
No.
That's my goodness.